Hello everyone, we are playing the conclusion of our Free from the Yoke campaign. So this is the fourth of four sessions. This is a game organized by the Gauntlet Community, which is a community centered around zines, podcasts, and the organization of these types of games that usually play less represented games. Uh, so you can find more about them on the links below. As part of the Gauntlet, this game is going to be obeying its inclusivity policy and open table premises. So if at any moment you need to leave or for any reason, feel free to do so. That will not be an issue. In terms of safety tools, we are also using lines and fails, which is things that you don't want to deal with, or if you want to, if they happen, they should happen off screen. So feel free to treat that as a living document and review it. If there is anything that you want to add, feel free to do so. We are also using the X card, so at any moment that you're not feeling comfortable with something, it can be anything as minor as you think it is. If you don't feel comfortable, just signal on chat or verbally, or just signal on camera somehow. We also have script change, which is when you are trying to deal with a situation which you know that it might not be comfortable and safe for you, but you still want to do it. Just say, yeah, let's use script change for this scene, and you can slow down, speed up, cut scenes, rewind as whatever you see fit. So it gives you a bit more of editorial control. And before we go around introducing our houses, uh, a brief summary of the events of the last season. So summer was supposed to be a season of peace, but what happened actually was that there was chaos as festivities were interrupted by a critical duel. We discovered that the voice of the land is actually bound to an ancient ritual site and is going to be coming back over and over again. We also discovered that since that site was so powerful, the architects wanted it for themselves and were willing to wage war for it. At the same time, the divisions between the citizenship and the non-citizens, between the Horselords, came to soft conflict, and slowly there started to be a gap between the riders and non-riders. On the meantime, the Union of Stone is fortifying their position and is managing to spread their ideals up all the way north. And open this confusion, the three houses send representatives for the autumn court. And let's start by the order of my screen, and each of you goes and introduces themselves and their houses. So let's start with Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg, he, him pronouns. I'm playing the Unbridled Grey, who are the Horselords of the Steppe. As Ludo pointed out, there is this separation forming between the riders and the non-riders. At the very end of last session, the Horselords released a whole bunch of horses onto the lands surrounding the School of the Dual Moon, to sort of disrupt any sort of power that the architects of autodidactism were using there to sort of control the weather, which is how they defend their territory. So totally don't have any plans this fall of doing anything on the School of the Dual Moon. No, not at all. And then my character, real quick, is Kessa. See, this is why we have character keepers. Kessa. And Kessa has recently been changed to champion of her house. And that sort of beaded horse mantle that she was wearing in that scene last season, she now wears permanently. And she's sort of there waiting to take the School of the Dual Moon.
Next, Michael, why don't you introduce yourself and your forgers?
Yeah, I'm Mikael. My pronouns are they, them. I am playing the Union of Stone, which is, I don't know, changes from session to session, I guess, a little bit here, but they are some kind of union of workers that under the Empire, they were mostly miners and stuff, but I guess it's also now in this new morning of our country here, moving towards being more a union of workers in general, of the citizens of the cities mostly, I guess. We've been seeing the union being like kind of following the leads of the other houses who are very hungry for conflict, I guess, while slowly building up a foothold in and getting into position to kind of do, I guess, try to unionize, yes, the country in some way. Has not been very successful at that so far, given that people are very eager to fight. But we'll see. Maybe this session. I'm also playing Natalia, who is the ambassador playbook. She's trying to make peace with these warriors. That's what she's trying to do. We'll see how this goes.
And then we have Ferret with the architect. So, Ferret, why don't you introduce yourselves and your teachers?
No. Okay.
Okay,
I am Ferret, also known as Sawyer. I use any pronouns as long as they're said with respect. And I am playing the Architects of Autodidactism, the teachers of ancient truths. We run a college, and it's like Hogwarts meets the Illuminati, so this is fun. We have been being peaceful, honorable, and listening to the land. We definitely did not break down fortifications around the Blood Lake. We definitely did not curse the other two houses years ago for petty reasons. We definitely didn't decide to wrench the secrets of the Empire from their still warm corpse by whatever means necessary, which, by way of me being very tongue-in-cheek, means we've done all these things. Last session, we went to war in the Season of Peace. We broke one of the ties Venuska has to the land to show our power, which did not go very well. And my character, Tio, the Winterborn, learned a ritual from the land, which may or may not come into play soon, as he needs a crown and a winter to come for the Banes to not be too bad. But I mean, we've been patient long enough. And Tio's kind of young and naive, so we'll see how this goes. And we now have horses on our land. This is wonderful. I wonder how our identity will crack and falter now.
Yeah, as everyone knows, horses are too cool for school. So we open on the autumn court, and so we had one that was near the monastery, the spring court. We had the summer court, which was near the other lake. So the autumn court is one place deep within the unbridled gray lands. So which of the gray's natural features is marked as local to which the land speaks to people, and why is this the site of the autumn court?
I'm gonna go with like the spring that was supposed to feed the dry river. And it's like this muddy patch that's just north of the tomb, right around where we actually have the label that says Dry River. And it's actually one of the few places that are like super verdant in the steppe. Everything else is a little more stark, but this is like the spring where the Dry River is supposed to be. Get all of its water from. And actually, geology be damned, because that one doesn't make any sense, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. So there are ancient formations that inhabit that place, and there is one in particular, this megalithic formation, right, standing on high over where the spring ran. So it's the shadowing place. And legend says that it was actually made by the first builders of the land, the mythical ancestors of the traditions of the forgers, or at least that's what oral story says. Can you describe this formation, Michael, and why the local people call it the crown of Venuska?
Well, I think this is kind of cool because my house has a ritual called Bones of the Earth. So I definitely think like it literally looks like bones coming up off the ground. And there's like these, it's almost, I think it looks like a, kind of like there's like a hollow in the middle of this circle of bones that are coming up. That almost looks like a face that is screaming, which is like a hole that's going down, hundreds of meters below. I think maybe there's water there. You can hear like the water from inside as well. So there's a lot of like sound. There's like underground waterfall in there.
So, and the architects, they have been very, very nasty to Caesar, right? So, what is their attitude now that they have to address, well, emissaries from every community across the land? And if they are going to appease or intimidate somehow, how are they doing it? How they that are going to be the talk of the court, how do they present themselves?
I think this is the first time we've seen the architects be ostentatious. They're usually very secretive, but they come with a retinue of spirits from the land with them this time. Like I think the emissary is is another one of the Winterborn, but unlike Tio, doesn't have the red eyes, and she's I think to like appease the Horselords, they've sent a woman. And she is tall, sort of like the traditional fantasy sorceress, very statuesque, very pretty, long, flowing red hair, maybe like the fire priestess from Game of Thrones before things went haywire. And she's surrounded by, like, there's just these retinue of like harvest spirits from the crops that we've brought in for like to show like autumn is the time of harvest. We come with banging drums from these music spirits, and one of the like more not traditional but tutoring spirit from the school is with her as her own personal tutor to show our power.
Oh, so you're gonna go for the intimidation route.
We're going more for the we speak for the land, we are the land route.
We cannot be wrong.
Yeah, we can't be wrong. We're powerful.
And you have the least favor with the land, by the way.
Yeah, because I was going to say that. Who actually speaks for the land? Who would you believe was a better steward during summer?
I believe the Union of Stone was the best, most respectful of the laws that were put down for show.
probably also gave soldiers to their cause.
I agree.
That's
The Union of Stone is much more apt than the Architects were.
Yeah. So I would say that, yeah, the Union of Stone rolls with advantage. So each of you can do your court move. So you're going to be rolling with your favor to see how well are you being received by the land and how things go during this court session. And Union, of course, is going to roll with advantage.
I got an 8.
So 10, 10?
I am very lucky. I got a 7.
Very, very lucky. Okay, so let's start with the 10. There is a place of difference that is given to the Union of Stone. It seems that there is something happening to the bones of Venus, to the crown of Venuska. And it seems like there is no plant life, not even these hardy mosses and grasses of the steppes that is approaching it. And the wind, when it crosses between the stretched bony fingers of the twisted face, it seems to sing, but it seems to only be talking to the representatives of the Union of Stone. And you are interested with something else. Let's see what the land has in terms of resources to this project.
And how far away is the land succeeding this project right now?
The land has 2 out of 5, and there was one of them against 5 to do. It only has shoulders, so that is what is going to be landing to you. So there is this impressive display, and a lot of the more neutral communities, they seem to be quite taken to how willing the land is to speak directly to the Union, not even using Venuska as intermediary. And it seems through the long days of the courts that there is a message that there seems to be repeated over and over again, is that a lot of the territories that are being now entrusted to Venuska and to the forces of Venuska, at some point, for the rebellion to end, it will have to be passed from the soldiers to the builders, and only then can the land regrow. So for winter, in which travel is forbidden by the laws of the land is entrusting you soldiers so that you are make sure that some of the land will heal during winter, and that there is not the damage left from war as the season ends. Oh, nasty. So it seems that the land rejects the architects. So yeah, the land does not talk to you. You are used to communicate with the land. In fact, Theo has a deep communication with the land even after you did what you did. So it's a bit weird, well, at least unexpected to the architects, that after such a deep connection, it does not seem to have instructions to the house at large. Now, the land is talking about with someone instead of you. So which faction is the land talking to?
We don't really have the factions outside the houses, I think. Well, maybe the church.
Well, we have the church, we have the trade towns near the forest, and we have the people from the forest, and we have the empire.
Yeah, I think they're talking to the church because we did screw them up.
So it seems that the land is giving favor to the church to repel you back, or at least that's what most of the people to the court are talking to each other. As far as anyone knows, the land is instructing the church to work with you. So the question is, which faction of the two contenders to the Primarch seat the land is talking to? Next, we have the Unbridled Grey. They have on a contentious position with the land. And they wish you to... The land actually wants you to do something else. They want you to get them something.
I actually had a question real quick.
Yeah?
With my role, I was supposed to gain a foothold in the forest last season. That's what the land
Yes.
asked of me, and I failed to do so.
So you lose favor.
I do. Okay, so I lose favor. Do I do that before or after I do this roll?
Before the roll.
Before the roll? Okay. I think I still have a 7.
Yeah, because you had an
Okay.
8.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Oops.
Oops. So the land shows you visions of. It shows the vision of the hammer, the sacred hammer of Venuska being destroyed, and the land shows you vision of a volcanic forge and the new hammer being made, and that hammer being given in service to the land. So the land wants you to get weaponry and to give it to the people fighting the rebels on the side of the empire.
So the land wants me to forge weapons and then give them to the Empire?
No, to the
Oh, no,
rebels
fight.
fighting
To
against
the rebels
the empire.
fighting the Empire. Got it. Okay. Oh, boy. Interesting.
Yeah, so the land wants you to give weapons to them, to get weapons and give that to them. So for going full circle, after these events make way across the land, and once the storms are over and travel is safe again, the houses get the news of what has been happening on the Autumn Court. So let's go ahead on the reverse order of the character keeper and start with the architects of autodidatism to see how they react to these news.
So it's the court now, right? Or is it?
Do any of you want to have a Senate court? Because otherwise we...
I mean, don't have to. I guess I thought. No, sure, it's fine. I think how we react to it is that I mean I think what I would like, I wish for myself, is to have a scene with Kessa. But as for what the house does, I think because it's kind of like in the vein of that is to kind of, I mean, I think the position of being, I guess, favored by the land. I think mainly, firstly, they want to. I think they want to solidify the faction in the church that they chose as the primarch. So that's what I think I want to do. But I also want to. Can I do that as a house and have a scene with Kessa, or we can have that also later on your turn, Greg, if you want.
Yeah, actually, both of those work. But in any case, first you're gonna resolve the part of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So we do either the part of the house and zoom, or then do the part of the house, do the part of Greg's house, and then zoom.
How would that look if I did it just with the house here? I mean, I could call in a depth. I have influence over them, I guess, but they are both in the faction, though.
Yeah, but you call adept, to the people that are within the faction that are still undecided. Say, hey, we would like more if you pick it Saint Lentil.
Sure. Then I think I'll just do that.
Okay, so you're doing that. So you spent one of your favorites there. They don't have influence on you to lose. Well, they are anyway NPCs. Not that interesting. So you can pick one of the benefits: gain advantage, take a surplus, or get them to back you up.
I guess this is get me to back me up. So what I want here is for St. Lentil to win this internal strife and such, have a church that is more on our side of, yes, we are on the side of the land, but we don't want to go back to what it was 200 years ago.
Yeah, so your house is an emissary to the Primarch and the aging Primarch, which all the prediction says that they will not survive the winter. Name St. Lentil as a Primarch apparent. So outside, it looks like the decision has made. Of course, the Temple faction still is active, but it seems like at least they choose as heir apparent St. Lentil. So, do you want to zoom in now on on Natalia visiting Kessa, or after now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you are going to deep in the court of to the Great Stables.
I mean, I'm a little bit interested in this. This place we had the court, actually. It could be like not so like when the others are leaving, to have it around there, perhaps.
Yeah, I would say that there is a dignitaries of the Union of Stone and from the Lentil faction that are accompanying the Union of Stone now that they have agreed to help them, and they are approaching the Unbridled Grey. So we're gonna zoom in. So which main characters are there?
Guess is definitely there.
Yeah, and Natalia necessarily.
I almost want to send Tio there, but I don't think that would be smart. So I think I'll just stick with Dinara as my quick character.
Okay, so another question: is Natalia calling her Venuska as a favorite to come?
You know what? Well, I'm gonna throw this to you, Greg, because I want this scene to be more about our relationship, and putting Venuska there is probably gonna fuck that up a little bit. So
well, Venuska is like incorporeal. Would that be? I don't know how they would even be there. Right, because Venuska's dead until they are reborn.
All right, that's true.
Yeah, but you can call. There's just means that
No, I think Dinara would be more interesting, especially because Natalia already has the backup of the whole church. I need some backup.
Okay, and Ferret, you could bring a character from the church, the Grey, or the Union, but you already made your choice. So we meet at the bases of the crown of Venuska, of the spring, of the cursed river, and we see a lot of, even if most people have left, there's a court, there's people from all across the land. You know what the situation is perfect for? Trade. And you see this free market, that this tent city that has been created around the structures, and a few people that have come here for the court, they are staying around for the market. So as we see the three characters, each of you are going to tell me something that catches their eyes, that they don't see usually within the lands that is being sold here. And let's go in the order on my screen. So let's go with Greg. So what does Kasich sees that they don't usually see for sale on their lands?
Oh, let's check out some surpluses that y'all have. I think there's these marble stone beads, and they're like chunky, that the Union of Stone has brought as sort of trade items, and I think Kessa is fascinated by them, and they sort of have, they're sort of like almost like divinatory, like gazing ball size, and you can they like refract the light behind them, and she thinks she sees the land speaking to her when she looks through them.
What does Natalia sees among the wares and the crafts in display that surprises even her, being so cosmopolitan and traveling all across the land? It's something that even her has trouble finding.
I think actually it's like this traditional fruit wine or something like that we didn't that we used, that is like very traditional, but isn't really. It's like one of these things that is almost died out, but they sell a lot of it here somehow.
And what is her name again? Danila?
Dinara.
Danara. So Danara is probably the most local of the three women. So what does she sees that it's something that must have come from another side of the world?
The thing is, two houses have need lumber. I think there are carved figurines of what we would know as Pegasi and unicorns, and she is just awestruck by these fine examples of horsemanship that is just like, if my horses had wings and horns, they would be unstoppable in battle.
So what is Natalia's goal on this scene?
I think it is to find out what the Unbridled Grey really wants, and then try to see if there's something she can, or the Union can do.
And I think once again, Kessa is trying to convince Natalia that war is necessary.
War against who, though?
Kessa did not change her role, right?
Kessa did. She is now a champion, right?
No,
she was a leader now.
A leader,
Yeah.
That's right. Sorry, changed from champion to leader.
Yeah,
And
that makes
Natalia
sense.
too, actually.
I think if I can set the scene a little bit, that Natalia's coming up to the tent where the Unbridled Grey have set up for this meeting place, and Dinara is outside, like doing these sort of, since they had the Unbridled Grey have attunement now. I think she's much more open about, or at least it's not rituals that they hide, but she's making sure that the land is safe. Like, there's like powdered horse hoof to keep interlopers out. There's the one tail hair from the mightiest stallion to promote good strength and good deals, and she's just sort of, she's making sure that everything's supposed to be doing well for this meeting. And when she sees Natalia like coming up, she goes back into the tent, finds Kessa, bows. My Katoon, the retinue of others arrive. Are you ready? And I did look up Katoon, which is the female version of Khan in Mongolian.
That's really cool. Katoon, it just sounds so, yeah. Okay. And I think Kessa just sort of silently rises, places her hand on Nanara and says, "Thank you," and continues out of the tent. And she is in like her full horse leader regalia with her giant beaded ears up, and like peace paint, but it's like these like almost like these jowls of a horse painted onto her face. It's something that Natalia has probably never seen a horse lord almost painted up like this.
Cool. I think Natalia is wearing this, like, I guess it's the first time I kind of described this traditional uniform that they have that is different from everybody else. But I think we already established that the Union at least has had a lot of like pigments of color. So I think she wears like this red cape and like a golden plate armor with this. I think it's kind of like Romanish, like with this helmet, except it's feathers instead of like the horse hairs. And the feathers are like also red and goes to being like purple on the end. I guess you haven't really probably seen Natalia looking as such a lot as well, given that she's usually more peaceful and of course. And she's wearing like this. She doesn't have any weapons in the respect of this meeting, except the sermon, the dagger with the runes on them, and you see them like glistening in red along in her belt as she walks up towards you.
My friend, the autumn leaves, they begin to fall, and summer has passed.
She nods and says, like, yes, like every year the leaves are red. And she thinks, she looks at you and says, and you look like you're ready to go to war.
I have not washed my warhammer since last we saw each other.
Well, I have thought some about that. In fact, it seems like there's no way to stop the tides of war. And she looks down at, do you carry your warhammer?
Dinara can be carrying my warhammer for me.
Oh, I think Dinara like has the warhammer like at ready should Kessa need it, and also to show off that it has not been washed.
Yeah, and I think Natalia like looks over at the warhammer and says, "Well, what is it that you're fighting for? I want to know."
We are fighting to restore our ways to this land.
Against who? Who is it that there's preventing you from restoring your ways?
There are machinations behind the scenes. People who spread mischievous thoughts. People who tear down walls and would try to take us back to older ways.
Natalia nods and says, well, what about after this war? What you going to do then?
I see very little after this war. It is not my thing to know. Did you know the land spoke to me?
What did it say?
It saw my hammers, forged in your volcano.
Natalia takes like a deep breath and nods and says, well, if you'll have your war, I want my peace after.
I'm trying to think if Kessa knows about the whole donkey rider situation.
Probably.
Yeah. And would this peace look like my southern lands?
I mean, ask your former southern subjects. I didn't do anything to make them join the union. But they may.
And what was that? What was that word again? What you called Kessa Ferret?
Katoon.
Katoon. Ah, that's right. I hear the katoon of the southern land eats grass now. That like a low donkey, they no longer eat the meat of cattle. Is this what you would have us do?
I wouldn't have you do anything. You can do whatever you want. Just as long as you don't smack your warhammer into every conflict you see.
Is that what Saint Lentil has whispered in your ear?
I mean, I helped St. Lentil come to power. I mean, who's whispering in whose ears? We have an opportunity now. There's no empire here anymore, and we can rebuild new ways based on what the land wants and what the people needs. We no longer have to spill blood at every corner just to... I mean, I get you're angry or whatever, but you're a leader of people now. You can't just... And she like shakes her head a little bit and looks at you.
My Katoon can do what she wishes. We follow the old ways, and sometimes tradition and the old ways are best. We do what we know is right. And just because you have gotten those who falter in their ways does not mean you have the right to tell us how to act.
I think Natalia looks over at you and says, I mean, sometimes old ways are better. It's not because they're the old ways, it's because they're better.
I think Dinara sort of smiles and sees an opportunity. He's like, if you are so interested in joining our families in war, but you want peace afterwards, and she looks at Kessa with sort of the old mischievous aunt face. What kind of marriage would you propose to seal our houses together afterwards?
I think she looks like a question mark at you. Like, excuse me?
You speak to the leader who rides to lead the horizon. She would need a champion to stand beside her, someone who can cleave through stone as easily as you cleave through the Empire. If you had such a person and our houses were combined, in peace or war, no one would be able to stop us.
I think Natalia like looks a little bit embarrassed at you and then at Kessa, and says, "Well, I think that the old ways of marrying away people because of causes maybe it's not ways to take forward, but if this person was willing, I see no reason why family boundaries can't be passed."
I am not asking for a sacrifice. People in marriages are not sacrifices, but we are looking for a partnership. We would want someone willing. And if I may be so blunt, my Katoon, who would not be willing to ride by your side?
How does Kessa react to this?
I think Kessa puts a hand on Dinara's shoulder once more and sort of squeezes gently so as to be like, "Do not exceed your capacity, Dinara." And the land asked the Union of Stone, gave the Union of Stone soldiers, did it not? Yeah.
And I think probably like if you give a thinking pause there, I think probably also Natalia responds to that. It's not me who is so eager to join your ranks, but it's me who has the soldiers. And if it's going to be a war, I want it to be swift.
I think we all would like it to be swift. I will give you your peace, Natalia. In fact, what is the Union of Stone? What do they desire? Well, I don't have any lumber to give you. Shoot, I don't have any crops. But I do have attunement.
You do.
If you will let us forge our hammers in your great forges, what does the Union of Stone want more? The peace.
I think it's a good question. Let me see on our list. I think maybe because I was thinking this. What I think I want to go over with this is that I want to make some kind of. I want to reopen this old mine with this metal to make your hammer. So I think that's what I want. I want like this surplus of this metal. I don't know if that's on the list, but that's what I want.
So you want Venuska's crown? You want the very land where we are?
No.
Or where's the old mine?
It's in the crater by Forge of Stone. But I have a ritual already to do that. But I think perhaps
you need my attunement.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I will give you Dinara, for I know no one more in touch with the land than her. The blood of the horses runs in her veins. And she will go with you. You will have your peace, and she will reopen your minds. But I must do what I must do before then. And I ask you not to stand in my way.
Very well. I'll come back with your move.
I want us to exchange something as like a sign of this deal. I just think that that's fun.
Ooh, I like that idea that Ludo had, though.
Mhm.
Oh. Yeah.
Like mechanically, I kind of already know it, but it's cool.
No, I mean another ritual.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So so Natalia rolls plus lore, and then Dinara picks.
Mm-hmm. That's I guess I have minus on lore, don't I? I think so. Yes, 7.
Okay. Let's see. Learn a ritual. Tutor. Okay. You can only use this ritual in the mines that you're going to be going to. And I think once a season, you must gift something of the mines to another faction to abate the curse that was placed on the land by the old architects.
Okay, cool.
And what does the ritual does exactly?
The ritual cleanses the metals, which means that they're easier for the spirits to attune to. Like, it makes them better for like a focus for the spirits, and cleanses them of the old curse from the architects.
So basically, spiritual refinery.
Like how you refine metals to make them stronger and more pure. You refine the spiritual elements to make them stronger and more pure.
Okay, so add that ritual and those banes to the ritual that Natalia learns.
Does the ritual have a name?
I think I'll call it the reflection of the clear lake, because from what I remember from summering on farms as a kid, that the old adage of you can take a horse to a water but you can't make it drink is because they get spooked of their own reflections sometimes.
So what is Kessa's reaction to this?
I think Kessa gives Natalia a horse as a sign of this pact, and a part of the promise. And it has nothing to do with, maybe if the horses go on the Union of Stonelands, then maybe something bad might happen to them.
So is Natalia satisfied? Does she know enough about what the Unbridled plan to do now?
Yeah.
Okay, anything before we zoom out?
I think that Natalia, after like taking the horse, like I think like looks over to Kessa, and I say, I don't know. The last time I saw a horse like this, things didn't. And then and I looks at you for a reaction.
Sorry.
Because that was in the
Yes, yeah.
last part. But I think then if that's the direction she gets, then she takes out like one of these daggers, and gives one to you. And she says, I think it's been a long time since one of the Unbridled Grey had one like this. Take care
A
of it.
dagger as a sign of our peace. Never change, Natalia. Never change. And I think, like, if we like, as we're zooming out, there's like runic something right on these daggers.
Yeah.
There's like particular carvings on it. Because Kessa is trading the attunement from the old beacon to the Union of Stone. I want to go back to that statue that they were building on the side of the old beacon, and we see that like it's actually being finished off by Union of Stone workers and their donkeys, and they're carving these runes into the base of it.
Awesome.
So, question: what is Theo doing? Also, Theo is a champion now, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tio is. I think the family is moving their dispersed attunement into the school because things have been going badly for them and they need to consolidate their power. But I think Tio has been at the school teaching people the ritual, and I think a lot of people are actually kind of surprised that he learned a ritual by himself, much less one. So, like, it's that kind of surprise, like, yeah, you were the chosen one, but like we thought we lost the lottery with you. And but he's explaining it and what needs to be done, and then I think this is when they like the word that the horses have been released on their lands reaches their ears. So like, ooh, I believe that we may want to conduct diplomacy with the Union of Stone.
Okay. First of all, give me a logistics roll.
My mood's 3. I just do it.
Okay, so you just do it, yeah. And so we resolve the logistic, and you want to conduct diplomacy.
Yes, and I have advantage because there is a student from the Union of Stone in my.
Yep.
So this is may go well, may go. Woohoo! An 11. So let's see what that does for me. Or reading the
wind.
Yeah.
So you are asking the Union of Stone.
Yeah. What is happening in the? What do you guys know about the Horselords of the Steppe? Like, what are their plans?
Well, I think that they're probably. I imagine it's going to be a very like brutal front and center attack, and there's definitely going to be like they're going to do an attempt at the temple, or the school, I guess.
Yeah, the school. So yeah, I guess that means that with that forewarned knowledge, we're probably going to have to scout out the battlefield in preparation for this this battle. Oh, how would the horses disable the weather defenses?
I thought that was the entire point.
Oh no, that was to I thought to make our lands flush with resources that we would want. Am I incorrect, Greg?
Oh no, it's to disable your. Well, I mean that's the side effect that you get is you get flush with resources, but because the presence of the horses uncouples you from your traditions, it's supposed to mess with your weather defenses. I don't know. We'll find out how well that works.
Oh,
That's definitely an unorthodox strategy. Yeah. So you get to mark on the map a sign of your answer. So maybe the place where you know that they will attack through.
yeah, I think that's what I'm going to mark, that they're going to come. They're going to be coming from the Great Stable. So let me just get a line or an arrow.
So there are two characters that have roll moves that might activate now. Does Theo or Kessa rolls activate?
I think my leader role might activate because I'll need to check it real quick. But
I thought your champion was that when you're sent to scout.
oh, Leah, let me check the. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Say how you plan to get close enough to observe them, and you say who's most suspicious of me. I'm going to get close to them by playing on Kessa's big sister attitude towards Tio. How she thinks she doesn't know about that he's the one that learned the ritual. I think that she will still see him as like the impressionable young, naive kid that she can get on her side, perhaps.
And I'm going to say the person that suspects you the most is Dinara. Because Dinara is able to see Theo in the visions. She knows that there is a Winterborn headed that is going to be the biggest threat to Kessa. And she can feel the power within Theo now that he has made this powerful contract with the land, and she recognizes the full danger that Theo constitutes. I'm gonna say, yeah. So mark that role. And Greg, does Kessa is Kessa being sent to defeat an enemy? Or
oh yeah, I have been tasked with defeating the enemy.
Okay, so you tell me and the party what is the enemy that you've been the tasked to defeating.
I have been tasked with defeating the architects of autodidactism because they used that thing and they are trying to re-raise Venuska.
Yeah, and now I get to pick. Well, you know where they are, and you know what the main obstacle it is. So I guess that is the thing. You have the key point is the School of the Dual Moon. You know that if you seize the School of the Dual Moon, you are at least able to keep them, deny them access to the main ways in which they can strike back at you. And you know that you have two big obstacles. Obstacle number one is the weather and the land itself. That your house deployed a plan in advance, which we need to see how that goes. And the other way is if they somehow make a peace treaty with the Saint Lentil that allows them to return home. in which case you are pretty confident that you could not deal with fighting them and holding the school if they get reinforcements.
So I have to divide them from the church somehow.
Yeah. Well, they did a good job for that now. You just need to prevent them from making peace and reaching an agreement. Yeah, we found out that they learned that you're going to attack and that is going to be an attack site. So, because it was the architect's house turn, I'm going to give Ferret the opportunity to zoom in with Theo on scouting if they want.
I think I was just activating a character move of when I scout the opposition's land, I get an extra token for pitched battle, because it looks like pitched battle is coming up.
Yeah. So you don't want to zoom, you just want to activate the move?
I think like we move like with zooming, like it'll be sort of like a quick zoom in with a TO maybe being spotted by Kessa and the scouts, and Kessa sort of like waving him off.
I actually have a lack of scouts, so
Oh.
Yeah. So
I don't have any
probably
scouts.
easier.
we're just going in this blind.
Oh damn.
Yeah. All
So, yeah.
great. So yeah, activate that move.
I get an extra token for pitched battle, and I can withdraw my champion anytime they would take a heavy wound for free.
Okay, so let's see how things are going on the Unbridled Grey. So I think the first question is, how do you make the horse thing work?
I mean, is this a ritual?
Yeah, I would say it's a ritual because, I mean, smuggling the horses was the easy part. Now
Right.
you have to do a ritual with the horses to actually sever the connection with the land where the horses are.
Okay. And would Kessa be in charge of that, or is that more of a Dinara's off like well Dinara because Dinara's over like making warhammers, right? In the crater.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she
Yeah.
need to be present for
Yeah.
that? So I guess this is great planning on the Unbridled Grey. Kessa's this is her silly plan to use the horses.
Well, I guess that's going to be when we zoom into the battle. That is probably going to be something that you're gonna do at the time on the real hour. So, what is the house doing before moving to attack?
I think, as described, we've sort of gathered our forces at the Great Stable, and we're all putting on our war headdresses. Those who are familiar with it might notice that we are still performing some things we used to do when we were fighting for the Empire. Painting our horses, painting our faces, lots of war drumming. And I assume that the weather is starting to get really bad. Because I just want this pitch battle to happen in like a thunderstorm, because I think that would be cool. And whether or not that actually affects and helps the autodidactism, the architects, I think it'll be interesting.
How about you tell me, why is that the point of your invasion? What is the research that you gain by fighting there of all places before getting to the school?
Oh, why are we taking the school?
No, why are you taking that? Because on the map you have the arrow there. Why are you going to this place? Which is the advantage which is the resource that you can get by coming from this place instead of, say, from
that's a good question. I think I think if I push them this way, because I think actually this border here. Well, I don't know. Did we change the border because of something with the beacon? I don't remember. Because I think if I push them this way, if they begin to retreat, they have to retreat towards the tomb. It's like a pincher effect. I'm going to give them no. If they can't retreat south. If I get them kind of from the east and from the south, then they're being pushed back into my lands.
And that resource would be
Am I risking land or something? Do I have to risk a resource for this?
No. It's more that what can be gained by seizing that border region.
Oh, artifacts, I would assume, or
Our ancient writings.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely your ancient writings.
I mean, that's why if you get the school.
If I take the school,
Yeah.
Here we go.
I mean,
I take the
if you
school. That ritual to resurrect Venuska is gone.
Yeah, but that's what you want from the war. I mean, what you will get if you get this battle at the border.
Oh, trade. Because we have the routes throughout all the land to get to the school.
Perfect. And yeah, so that's the thing. You know that if you seize that region and you manage to control that, you get trade, which will be a major factor on this war. So I think the first thing to do is we're going to go claim by force to see if you manage to seize the border. And we're going to see which is going to be the situation when we zoom in as the battle happens.
I thought this was pitched battle. I was planning.
Yeah, but that is on a character level. So first we're going to resolve the claim by force at house.
No, pitched battle is the when you meet another army in open warfare.
Wait.
Yeah, pitched battle is a house move.
Yeah.
Wait, where is it?
It's on. It's not in the handout. It's in the actual book, page 37.
I was confusing it with piercing assault. Okay, that explains it. So there, that's exactly what is going to happen. So, in which page it is?
37.
Okay. When you meet another apple, first define the victory looks like for first each party, bearing in mind the scale of the forces. So, which is the size of both forces? I think it's only relatively small, right?
I have a surplus of soldiers,
and you are using them here.
I am using them here.
Yeah, and
it's a relatively large warband.
Yeah, and I have a surplus of attunement, so I think that we have spirits fighting on our side.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know in pitched battle you have to use the surpluses that you can that are not dispersed, because you can't use dispersed surpluses, which is why I've been cementing all the surpluses in the school, because I knew this was happening, or figured it was.
Yeah. So what would victory looks for each other? So first of all, what would victory look to Kessa?
I think victory would look like to Kessa if we can because I don't think it's just holding the school. I think it's eliminating the ability of the architects to perform this ritual.
Because then they need a horse, and with the other thing that they need is on deep on shares lands. That might be a bit too much.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Seizing the scrolls in the moon, or here, because I think Kessa at least believes that perhaps in those scrolls there is a way to stop that ritual. Right?
Yeah. And what would reputation victory look for the other side?
keeping our school and being able to. I believe we said that the crown was on Unbridled Greylands. To have a clear path towards the crown.
Oh, so you actually want to push them back.
Yeah.
That's great. So you get one extra token, right?
I have one extra token from the move I just did for Tio.
Yeah. So for each of your needs that is relevant to the battle, add a token of your opponent's color. So you have one token that you start. Scouts are relevant, so I guess that's another token for the architects, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
What other else? Is lumber relevant?
The architects have scouts.
No, the need
Oh.
you have of scouts is relevant to us because you're not able to scout our land. I think lumber will be relevant. Well, I don't. I think it would be because we don't have any defenses. Like we don't have the. Like we can't. We don't have those walls to hold back the horses made out of lumber.
Yeah, which is their biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another token for them. So we have 2 tokens for the architects, 1 for the gray. Anything else that might give a token?
Oh, we I know surpluses can risking surpluses can give you tokens. I think. Let's see. Say mistake for each of your needs.
I don't. I think it's later on the battle.
Yeah, it's later. Okay.
Okay. So which party has the lowest grasp?
That would be us. Okay.
So you can make a statement.
I risk giving up control of the school.
Oof. Put that token in. Okay, what is the statement that the Unbridled do?
Where are we doing the tokens? Are you just making a count?
37, yeah.
Let's just make a dice on the roll for your party, which your colors, and just change the number.
Well, because it has to be like picking out random tokens.
It's a random draw.
Yeah.
So do you have like coins you can do, Ludo, and just
yeah, I'll get the bag and make it.
Okay. I will risk losing the respect of my followers.
Ooh.
Second. Yeah. What more?
I will risk harm to my translators of the Scrolls of the Moon.
Ooh.
I will risk compromising my ethics.
You've already done that. Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, you lost the respect of your followers, you said. So, yeah. I will risk losing all my crops.
Whoa. In autumn.
I will risk losing my herds.
Ooh.
Because the herds of horses.
Oh yeah. Because it's like, oh, but don't you have a need for livestock? No, the other herd.
And because this is open warfare, I think I will also risk losing the respect of my followers.
I risk giving up control of the crown of Venuska.
You know that you can fold, right?
I know.
And
You need to play with Ferret and I more, Ludo. We play to lose.
and screw it. I risked the majority of my soldiers.
I fold.
Okay, what is the current tally in tokens?
That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd be 6 for me. No, 7 for me with the need, and 6 for the unbridled
I
gray.
actually do want to. I want to risk harm to Kessa.
Okay,
Ooh.
so 7 to 7. Because I will
I'm
fold.
prepared.
Yeah, I will fold after that. I'm not risking anymore.
I will likewise fold.
So there is no war.
No, we're folding to make choices. Now the war starts.
Okay. Let me get. So we are 7-7, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Theo is not going to be in harm, right?
Teo is in harm, but whenever he takes a heavy wound, I can, because of my move, I can just remove him from the battle instead of taking the heavy wound.
Okay, so I'm gonna get, because I need to get more tokens. Then I'll just be there in the back. 2 minutes.
I'm excited because Michael gets to describe vignettes too. Part of this.
This is what this has all been building up for. Horses versus learning. And you get to go first, Greg. This is going to be fun.
Okay. I'm getting the tokens here. And white for the gray and black for the architects. So starting with the general that did not fold. So starting with Greg. So you can either declare the retreat, or so you bring the battle to a close after the opponent's next turn, or tap a nearby untapped surplus or character and draw a random token from the pot. So who are you going to tap?
So this tapping of resources, how does that exactly work?
So basically, you just say that they are being used on this war.
Okay. I will tap my
And
soldiers.
you cannot choose it more than once. So
Oh, okay.
it's tapped.
Actually, I will choose my herds because thematically, we're starting with the horsies. In the rain, horses in the rain.
It's the architects.
So that means I have to describe how your warriors regroup, fall back, or take shelter.
Yes.
So I think the assault begins with these horses running through the fields of the surrounding the school of the dual moon, and we think that it's finally going to this is going to work. Like the weather's going to clear, and it turns so much worse. And now my horses are absolutely stuck in the mud. And it's the more experienced warriors are having flashbacks to the Empire and the swamp and the absolute quagmire that it was. So my horses are being stymied by the rain and the mud. This proud charge is cut short.
Okay, so what next is the architects. Which
I
one
will
is it?
tap attunement. We will attack with spirits.
The gray.
Oh damn! I think that what happens is we do summon the spirits, but because of the horses on the land, we summon horse spirits, and they do not attack the horses of the Unbridled Gray, and I think we might actually we have to withdraw further into the school and start like reading the scrolls of the moon to try and figure out our next move.
So, Michael, what do you tell us about the battle? What has been happening in the heat of the battle?
It's a little bit like difficult to kind of visualize these spirits and horses fighting, but I guess you can see like this. I imagine like it's kind of like foggy or something like that. I mean, with the whether it's raining or with the wind, and there's all this like sounds of horses like shrieking and like this. I don't know what sound. There's spirit horses as well. I guess they. It's very much like this complete chaos around there, I think.
Okay, new round. Starting again with the gray.
I will tap Kessa.
Oh shit! It's the architects again.
Where's Riku fall back? So I think Kessa is trying to rally the troops in this mud, and she misunderstands, and in this fog of battle that has gone across this crop field, she believes that she is leading this warband, but it's actually just a group of these horse spirits. And so she's actually been cut off from her warriors.
Okay, what is happening on the other side?
We are tapping our school. We tap the land.
Oh. Great.
Oh, this is not going well for either of us. So I think I think Dinara has finished her ritual, and like the weather does not clear exactly, but the land, like, it's sort of like an odd Teflon plating on the land itself, that the rain no longer sinks, it makes mud, so the horses are getting traction again. And like this, she uses the spirit horses to like soak up the water and strengthen the horses of the Unbridled Gray.
So, Mikhail, how is the battle going?
People are screaming, falling off horses, running out of the school. It's horrible. People are dying. It's a battle. Everyone is losing.
New round. Gray.
So I'm curious, next round I won't have anything to tap, right? I can't tap a dispersed resource?
You can, but you have to inflict heavy ones on a character or erase a surplus.
Okay. I will tap my soldiers. Yeah, I'll tap my soldiers.
Okay, so pick one of your opponent's declared risks and show how you make it through.
So you did what? You did everything but risking. Did you risk everything? No. Which one didn't you pick?
The respect of my followers is the only one I did not pick.
Oh man, that's the one I wanted. Uh, and what was the crucial resource?
The readers of the Scrolls of the Moon.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
You muted yourself.
I did. Hey, spacebar on this. That makes so much more sense than other applications. So I think we see Kessa like in the where are these scrolls kept in the church?
I think normally they're kept in the in this great big like sort of vault tomb in the school, but since we're at war, since I pushed the readers into a critical location, they're probably just in a schoolhouse reading the scrolls under like moon lamps. So you can just like Warhammer your way in and take them.
I guess that's what happens.
Yeah. So Kessa like bashes down the door, and immediately they start like ransacking the place, and yeah, I think they start just gathering them all up and taking them back to. There's like these super fast riders that are specially made that were tasked for this, and they are like thrown onto the horseback and they're being taken off to the great stable.
Well, it's time to tap our ancient writings and see what we know about the old Horselords war ways.
Maybe get a zombie Venushka to turn the battle.
Oh, damn. Well, I think we're getting... I think the people who would normally... the people who did know these writings like front to back have been stolen from us. And that there is just... Like some people are reading books, but people are dying. There are fires everywhere. So like they're not reading well or fast.
So Michael, how is the battle going now? Now that the Skulls of the Moon have been captured.
I think probably like the weather is calming a little bit, and you start to like see the full extent of the losses, with like people lying on the fields of battle. Like even though someone now has an advantage, there's definitely been heavy losses on both sides.
New round. I mean, you got an advantage. You can quit while you are winning.
So if I declare retreat, close after the opponent's next turn. So you do get a turn.
So yeah. The players, the thing is, the players with most token in front of them is going to win. So you have 3 in front of you, and a ferret has 2.
Yeah, but it's more fun if I put a heavy wound on Kessa.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways. Yeah. All right. So Kessa takes a heavy wound. Whoever that is. I don't know. That's right above dead, right?
That changes.
Yeah, I have 2. Okay.
Yeah, you have 2.
So Kessa takes a heavy wound. We'll resolve that with whatever this draw is. Nice. So Kessa has taken these scroll readers, and she is super excited as this weather is clearing. And she has raised her blooded warhammer high and it's just at that moment that lightning strikes it, and her right arm that's been holding it on high goes limp, and she can no longer use it because the weather does not favor her here.
We are risking our crops. Yes. And I mean, you risked Kessa, didn't you? I think what Kessa sees is Tio reading from this ancient book as he walks out further, and smiles, and like the last thing he says is, big sister, I've always looked up to you. Now it's time you look up to me. And turns the page, like waves his hand, and the land begins to shudder under Kessa, and I think like the earth grabs her and seizes her in place, so she cannot move anymore.
So, which the harm Kessa takes then?
Another heavy wound, I think, or a
Okay.
deadly wound.
So if she takes a third, she's dead, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So how is the battle looking now? Now that Kess is not there, Michael.
Well, I think of all forces that in battle, I think that probably the Unbridled Grey is the ones who would deal better with not having a leader, as they're just like fierce and more instinctual fighters anyway. But I think like it's very much like this. You see probably that their ranks are faltering a little bit, but it's much more like this. If I could say like one man hero ball kind of thing, where they will charge into any amount of the architects, no matter how bad the odds, and not take smart battles anymore. Yeah.
So, new round. The Grey, are they retreating or are they tapping a resource or killing Kessa?
Oh, I am going to erase the resource of herds.
Oh no, not my horses.
All the horses. Dang. Oh man. I think it's at this point that the plan. There was a plan. There was a plan.
At some
There was a
point.
plan. There was a plan that as the weather cleared, the donkey riders would come from the south. And they would force them north, right? That was the idea, is we would pincher them into our lands, and the donkey riders never appear.
I am going to erase attunement.
Oh yeah. No horses, no magic, only war.
And I didn't.
I need gifts in this chat.
No. And I think what happens is, like, the weather does change. It's now just raining as much. Like, the rain has been putting out the fires, but like as Tio used that earth spell, it is the earth and the winds have bucked, because you're not supposed to use both spirits at once, and lightning strikes the place where the scrolls are usually kept.
So, Michael, how does the battle bogs down as suddenly both sides have been denied access to their real assets and to their specialities?
I think actually, like, you see this one one unbridled gray like on horseback, like riding into this group of, I don't know, how does this like magician's magic work? Is there like spellcasters, or is
It's more like a druidic things. Like they use the land, they use like rituals, like, and I think it's like the school itself is defensible, sort of like the Circle of Stones meets Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you see this guy like in a robe, like as with like fear in his eyes, like trying to stop this horse from like trampling him down. And he uses some kind of like enchantment, and you see like the horse kind of like dying as it's running. And I think like you see immediately like all across the field of battle, like the magic stopped working. It's like the land cuts you off from its magic.
The land does not want to have anything to do with this. So, the Gray, are you gonna keep fighting on foot or what?
What's the count now?
4-4.
4-4.
Yeah.
What a lucky turn for you, architects. I will erase my surplus of soldiers.
We fight to the last.
Shouldn't have knocked down that wall. Oh. I think it's at this point that the unbridled gray sort of are struck by their brashness. They thought they were going to run roughshod over this school of petty magicians, and finds that now when they are off horseback, and even without their magic, they are no match for people who are defending their own land. Something that the Unbridled Gray is familiar with, but they're used to having the Empire. They're used to having support. They're used to doing this, and they're suddenly a lot of these hand-to-hand things. They're losing it when they're not on their horses.
So, architects, if the battle ends now, you win the war.
I think we're not going to draw. We're going to try and end the battle.
Yeah, so the battle is going to end at the end of your opponent's next draw.
Yeah, if they want to make one, do you want to erase your surplus or kill off Kessa?
Yeah, before that, Michael, how does it look when the Unbridled Grey are suddenly fighting on the steps and defending a retaliation force?
Well, I think there's almost no horses left, so people are just like at foot, and you see like people trying to like regroup into just one force because they were spread out a lot, as you might be when you have horses. So it's pretty much like this group of people trying to like gather in this in one force form to make a last stand or escape or whatever they do.
Okay. Final decision.
I hope you all loved Kessa, because I'm going to kill her.
Oh, shit. To try to get a stalemate.
Just on this 50-50 draw. Yeah, to gain a stalemate.
Just so that they don't get the crown of Vesnorska.
Yeah.
So petty. Fuck.
A stalemate is the only victory I can hope
Okay,
for.
so tell me how Kessa dies to stop the counter evasion.
Well, I think I get to choose one of those risks, right? Yeah. Before we do that, I'm going to choose the respect of my followers. No, oh, sorry, that's right. That's the one I can't choose. Compromising their ethics. So I think at this point, it's this showdown, and Kessa has freed herself from. Oh yeah. Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay, so Kessa has freed herself from this earth spell, and her one arm is limp. She cannot. She can no longer lift her warhammer. And it, of course, interject me any point, Ferret, because I'm going to slightly narrate what Tio is doing here. But I think it's at this point where what weapon does Tio carry?
Tio's weapon is his magic book.
Okay. So is there anything that like is verboten in the architects?
A Winterborn is not supposed to use fire magic unless they're in winter.
Fantastic. And I think there's a scuffle, and it looks like Kessa is actually going to win this. And it's at that point that Tio like presses his hand on her chest and begins to like start to burn her. And they lock eyes, and she just says, this makes you an unhonorable warrior. For only the honorable cannot kill me. You have no honor. And this is witnessed by the rest of the congregation.
If I may interject a little bit, I think you can't lift your warhammer, so Tio is sort of gloating a bit because he's young and naive, and you run in and tackle him, do the tackle mount, and you're just beating him with your offhand. And the other architects are running in because he's their champion, and they see him like his hand glow a light with the fire magic out of season, and he touches to your chest. You get your spiel off, and then like he clenches at your heart to finish off the spell and save himself as he's bleeding and just crying. And you are his big sister, and this is not what he expected to happen.
As part of the death mood of the Bogatir, you protect your allies. So I'm going to give you two choice. You protected the few horses that remain, or you make sure that a lot of your soldiers are able to go back home. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I'll protect a bunch of my soldiers.
Okay, so you gain again soldiers back. And the architects, you pushed them back, but you were not able to invade them. So you gained the trade resources because you managed to secure the borders. So you are in full control of the borders. So now you get trade.
Actually, with the stalemate, you're supposed to, since it's a tie for both of us, it's up to the GM who decides who wins. And I think that's how it goes. Let me.
That's the thing. Then you have to break on the number of who risked more, and you both risked the same.
Yeah. I will suggest that the architects gain the need prestige from this, from defying all rules. That they defied their own rules. So how can you trust a teacher who can't keep their own promises?
You scratch the attunement, right?
Scratch attunement. We'd gain trade, but I'm saying we gain the need prestige.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I would say then that they get the need. They need herds because they need to refill their horses desperately. And we end up here because we need a break after this tense battle, and we're gonna see how what is the Union dealing with the consequences of this war. Also, turmoil increases by 1. So see you in 10.
I am statting up Dinara as quickly as possible.
Sorry?
I'm statting up Dinara as quickly as possible.
So you're gonna upgrade Dinara to a full character?
Absolutely.
Great. So we go back to the Jeweled City, and how is the people reacting to the news about the war, and how quickly it turned around, and how is Natalia reacting when she learns of Cass's death, standing to protect the retreating soldiers of the Unbridled Grey?
That's a lot of questions at once. I think as for the city, I think this is a very carefully thought through tactic from the Union to angle this news as the other factions being doing something stupid. And such, it's very much like this, I guess, kind of relief that they are not a part of the war. That is mostly if they are successful in that, at least. But as the feeling among the people. As for Natalia, I think she takes the news. I think she definitely takes. You see probably Natalia riding out of the city on this horse, lines with it's raining. I think it's also bad weather here. It's fall after all, but her eyes look like a bit red, but her face is very determined.
So what are people starting to call this war?
You asking the table or me?
Yeah, let's. If you don't have any ideas, let's ask the table.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have ideas, but all these people lost. So I think you should give it to.
I want to somehow combine the imagery of the dual moons and the horses. I don't know.
The stampeding eclipse.
Ooh, yeah.
The war of the stampeding eclipse. And now, what is the Union of Stone doing?
I think that we are. What I want to do is to make this metal come back into my mine, and I want to open a mine there in the crater.
That's good. So that will get you. Which is the resources that you want to get there?
Rare metals or something like that.
Okay, so if you get those rare metals at the end of the season, they're gonna get weaponry.
Mm-hmm. I think.
Was that not the agreement that if the mines were done, the Grey will get weaponry and you will get metals, right?
Sure.
Or I misunderstood.
No, I was just thinking that I was going to do the actual ritual because I can get to crack a vein of valuable minerals.
Yeah, I think that was the agreement, but we can zoom in and on a scene to the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
So as we zoom in, which main characters are there?
Dinara's there.
Yeah.
Duke Venuska?
I yeah, sure, maybe I do actually. I mean, Kessa's gone now, so I guess it's no harm. But how does that work with Dinara? How's that dynamic?
Yeah, so news has spread. I think Dinara is far, at least at this point now, far more pragmatic, and realizes after the absolute the stalemate, like the complete wash that happened, that peace is more important now.
Sure. Then I think I will call her as well.
Then that will be up to Ferret to decide how Venuska turns.
Oh, I have an idea.
Great. Okay. Okay. So we have this big crater where there is the potential of mines that are near unlimited treasures underneath. Joanna has the courage and the dedication to untap them. Now, who do we see approaching for the ritual site? And Venuska, your role as representative of the land is to change. You have lost connection to your former self when the femur hammer was destroyed. You're only 2/3 of what you are, and the rest is filled with the raw will of the land and how the land and the people see you, and you change in response to that perception, at least in part. So your purpose for this scene is portray how Venuska has changed after death, resurrection, and losing this connection to their past.
So should I describe how Venuska enters then?
Yeah, each of you describes your character. So you can start with Venuska.
I would say I'd prefer Natalia to start since this is her zoom in.
Yeah,
Sure.
makes
I
sense.
think Natalia is wearing like workers' clothes. It's like gray linen clothes, very like simple and hardy, and is holding like a big hammer, not a war hammer, but one that you would use in the mines, and like a I don't know, like a something chisel, I guess, something like that. And you see her hair is cut on both sides, and she's having like this big. Her hair otherwise is loose and it's blowing a little bit, and it's still like raining. And I think you still, I think you see she's. I think she's actually on the horse that was given to her by Kessa, riding up to this crater with the others like walking beside her.
Yeah, I think the people of the land, that grand guardian followers of Venuska are marching up, and there's this humble-looking family from like not the church, like from one of the other factions that you can tell like they're outsiders to what the Venuska looked like before. It's like different hair, different skin tone, different eye colors, and as the entire procedure meets Natalia, the family is a like a wife, a husband, and two children, but when they speak in unison with Venuska's voice. And it's just, they say, like, it is nice to see you again. After last time, we hope that what happened can be avoided.
I think Natalia just like looks straight ahead as she answers. Well, that was not me.
No, but I think all 8 of their eyes, or 16 of their eyes, look at the horse. Let's see. Yep, that's right. No, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 8. Look at the horse and say, like, but we have found that wherever the Union treads, the hoofbeats of barbarism are not far behind.
I think Natalia like looks over at Venuska and says, "Are you not of the unbridled grey yourself?"
We are of the true unbridled grey. We speak for those who would not sacrifice horses over people.
I think Natalia like just like looks down on you because you're not on horse, so because that's not allowed. You weren't allowed here. This is our place, and I think like this is very much like this changing around of the dynamics. Also, since last time that this is like the first time you really been to a place of real prominence for the Union, and like looks down at you and says, "Well, I won't talk badly about people who are not here, but this all could be avoided if you were able to keep order in your house." But that's not why we're here. And she looks over at Dinara.
Yes. Shall we begin?
Let us, foaling lady.
So, who's performing the Bones of the Earth ritual?
I believe Natalia has to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or teach it to someone.
No.
Good call.
Well, I'm not good with lore, so we'll see.
Oh, wait, sorry. I remember exactly was it that Dinara would perform the ritual? Was that the deal? I think it was.
Well, you can help.
I think we'd all be better off if Dinara did it, but let's see. But who knows Bones of the Earth, right? Union of Stone, right? Yeah. Okay. I'll help then. Dinara helps. Can I discern significance first? It's going to give me a bonus. This would be basically communing with what is it? The unearthed forgotten lore. Because this is the first time Dinara has been here, and she gains a bonus.
Do you have a background with Natalia?
Well, I mean,
in the fiction, I guess.
Yeah, in the fiction, I do like a lot. Because,
so the fiction is what matters.
Yeah, Natalia was there with the reading of the foal
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, she like pulled both of them aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Dinara sees potential in Natalia. That's a good something.
Okay, so go ahead and unearth Forgotten Lore with discern
Okay.
significance.
Here we go. It's a 5 plus 7. And I can always ask a few, but what are the default ones?
Yeah, so you have one extra question, so you have 2.
Yeah.
And you can ask the 4 ones and the new ones.
Right. I think just to gain the mechanical advantage, whose ancestors are most tied to it, unless there's a surprising answer to that question.
I mean, it's definitely Natalia's people.
Okay. And then I want to have a vision about the past here at this crater, because it was cursed.
So why don't Ferret answer that? How you get a vision of when the crown of Venuska was being forged? How did the architect curse it during the process of forging it?
I think while the like you see the bones being raised from the earth and all that stuff, but as the pillars and the gigantic rocks rise from the earth, they drag up like sacrificial bones of horses that were buried there that had to have been cleared off. But these are like these are the ancestors of the horses of the steppe. You know, way before they were bred to be better. So I think Dinara, of all people, can tell that these skeletons don't match your current build of horses. So this is generations ago.
All right, and at that point, I think Dinara will just lock eyes with Natalia, and it is time we begin. There's much danger here, and just like guides her hand. So that means that do I even roll to aid? Call for aid?
It depends. So first,
Okay.
Natalia rolls. Then,
And
if we
then-
need,
okay.
yeah.
That's 8 with my -1.
Would you like me to aid?
Sure. Well,
Okay.
how can I get plus? How much would that be?
In Worlds of Legacy, aid boosts your roll up to the next highest level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
So
give
it's
you a
now
full
it's
hit.
useful. So you can roll plus lore, and you have advantage when helping because you
Right.
have background.
Okay, here we go. That's a 9. That's an 11. So that's full hit.
Yeah. So so you upgrade it 1 degree up.
So yeah, I think I wonder how this looks. I think actually that there is a lot of people from the Union here. Actually, I think and like all around the crater, and you hear like as the ritual starts. I think there's like this. they all get down on the knees, Natalia included, and like hammers while they're singing this song. And it's very much like, I imagine very much like this kind of rhythmic song that like a worker's song, like we would sing in the mines. And it's very much like this. After like a while, it like completely over thunders like the weather sound of the weathers. And I think like you hear. So I'm just gonna look at because there's several on the 7, 10 plus. They pick one. Well, let's learn a ritual. Let's enact a ritual. So on 10 plus, I pick 2. Okay. And the ritual is okay, cool. So I think the thing I choose is that there is a vein of valuable minerals, and there's also another one that's very cool. And I think that also the Earth's scorching red blood, I think, because it's so metal. So I think how this looks is that you see like in the bottom of the crater, there's it's almost like the Earth starts like shaking, and there's like these cracks coming up with like red hot magma like swerving out and like filling the crater all the way up, and it all stops like. Oh, blessing list. Where is that list?
You mean of blessings?
You're enacting a ritual, right?
Yeah, so you can pick 2 blessings.
So I
Yeah.
think essentially you were picking the magic does exactly what you desire.
Yeah,
Or
that,
You wanted the vein.
It
of
sounds
mineral.
like they're picking the magic is far more powerful than normal, since they wanted like the 2 things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that could be. There's 2 things to pick from here, so it's a bit confusing. First, I need to pick from the ritual list, and then on the specific ritual. Yeah. Yeah, I think those 2. Yeah, and so but it feels like all the way up until it's like not a crater anymore, just like a lake of bubbling lava, and it just like stops. And I think like you can feel like the searing heat all around the lake, of course, and like the rain hissing on the burning surface.
okay. And the vein is that I'm gonna have is the weather changes suddenly and dramatically. Suddenly, the surge of heat, it seems to be causing the rain to get worse and worse. And it seems that there are, instead of the serene autumn weather, it seems that there is massive storms wreaking chaos across the land, all centered on the crater. So you're gonna get 2 surpluses: the rare metals and the weaponry that you promised the Unbridled Drake.
You promised you'd give it over. You promised.
Yeah, and Dinar, you can already tell this. You know that this magic is powered by the seasons and the land. The land will not be able to sustain autumn for longer. There is going to be an early winter.
I do have one question because of the Bane Dinara taught Natalia. What luxurious gift did you hand out to someone not of your faction
Yes,
to avoid a Bane?
yes. Otherwise, you're gonna get another vein.
Wasn't that the dagger?
I think actually, I think, well, technically, like the unbridled gray that I was going to give this to doesn't really exist anymore. This faction, but I think still that we give like this in the same kind of way in the big like Warhammer with this runic scriptures to Dinara, to the unbridled gray, as like a token of like honoring the new this new found. How does I mean, I was going to say newfound peace. I don't know within, but it seems like within the unbridled gray now it's like you're more of one, right? Is there still a schism?
There's probably still a schism. I chose Dinara as a rogue. So she's going against her house's wishes being here in a way. But
Well, I'm
yeah,
giving it to her then.
yeah, and she accepts. So you like out of this crater, you like summon all of this lava, and this vein of minerals opens, and from it you like with the magic pull a warhammer out of it. That's super freaking cool.
Yes.
So, on practical terms, you're gonna giving them weaponry, but they also gonna see a bounty of these resources. Are you giving them promises of greater luxuries?
That's my house, I think. No.
Well, that's your character move.
Yeah, but that's the character.
But do you think that your house is going to do that?
When you promise your house luxuries. So I was reading that as my character promising.
Oh yeah, it's right. It's
luxuries.
right. It's I was misunderstanding that. Yeah. So it's
And
basically.
And yes, that's what I'm doing. Like I think I'm since I am no longer giving this amounts of weapon to the unbridled gray, since my partner of the deal is no longer alive. I'm promising it to the union if they move to the land and make the land whole again.
Okay, so you may mark that, and the Council of the Union, it is very pleased with the ritual, but is a bit displeased with the war and the storms that have ravaged the sea trade. So it's forcing them to be more and more reliable on land trade. And the thing that they expect from you is, because of your success on negotiating with the unbridled gray, that you reach out for the architects that now hold control of most of the inner trade routes and get a secure peace deal that will allow trade to continue disrupted, because they cannot be because winter will come, so travel by sea will be really impossible. If they are not able to capitalize on this peace, then they will not benefit from these luxuries, and they believe that you are more than capable for that. So, anything before we zoom out?
I think there is one more thing that might trigger reading this stuff. Did the Union of Stone work with another house to build or repair an item important to their culture, like the
Yes.
Warhammer?
Yes, I did.
So they should gain 1 influence on the Unbridled Grey.
Okay, done? Okay, so we zoom out and we go back to the architects. How do the architects look now?
I think they're like slightly in disarray. The scrolls of the moon are gone. Like things are not looking great. But I think Tio is going to take leadership at the change roles to leader as he. Well, would he though? Because he did lose he compromised his ethics. Would they follow him? Shit. I think with
There's
the
schism in your house too? No, okay.
probably I about to say, should I hold together? You're muted, Ludo.
Actually, there is an answer to that. Depending, do you have influence over the church?
Yes.
Perfect. You can take something from the church then,
Oh,
instead of holding together.
I will. I think I'll take a trade route, like the route to the Lake of Blood, if I may. Or should I take a surplus from them? Or
Yeah, take crops from them.
well, I have crops already,
Hmm.
but I will take. Oh, I will take missionaries, but that would put me over my limit.
Yeah, so then you do the overflow with resources.
Yes. And
Or you can give some to the land.
let's see where this will go for me. I think this is going to be a grand sell. Like we kept the school, even if we lost the scrolls of the moon, or the interpreters of it at least. We're going to put on a grand celebration for the students who survived. Like, I don't think we lost our students, so we'll be, it's like, sorry for the war. Here's spring break. Woo!
Yeah, and you have a lot of people that graduated from your school that make part of the structure of the church, and after they learn that you lost such treasure, a lot of them came back to the school to try to restore this knowledge, either because they think that they might gain a position of power in the architects now that there is these vacancies, or just out of real altruism and respect for the knowledge. That's another matter. But that's how you get the missionaries. All these people that have been working for the church now are turning back to the school in which they learned.
And there is one other, since I've already used one of my other greatest magical treasures, I think I will tap my other one, the true names to the servants of the gods. And I think I will send. I think this messenger looks like a Pegasus. And I will. What I intend to do with this power is send the Pegasus messengers to Saint Lentil's followers and make them clear the way to the Blood Lake for the architects, so we can do our ritual in winter, since we're going to be breaking laws anyway.
Okay, so flush with resources. So you erase a surplus and pick one of the options.
Yeah, I threw a grand celebration. I have advantage on grasp for the rest of the age.
Great. What was the surplus that you erased?
I erased. I didn't keep missionaries since I had all the others.
Okay, so you erased the missionaries. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically they come for the celebration and share on that knowledge.
And I think they go back with the servant of the servants of the gods, since that's sort of a sign that what they came for was right.
Do you want to officialize this agreement with the lentil regime?
Yes. How would that work?
So you gain advantage to grasp during the rest of the age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can do a read. No, we don't need to use a move for that. You because you want to, they also want to. There's no sense. Yeah, so they get to an enrichment and they establish pilgrimage routes in which people of the architects might cross the land to get to the Blood Lake and establish the Blood Lake as territory that is right of the architects.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing is that the troops protecting the pilgrims will have to be from church. That's the only thing that they demand.
That's
Are
fine.
those terms acceptable? Or okay. So what else does the house wants to do?
Oh,
We still
well,
have not had this season a zoom in with Theo.
yeah, and I think there will be a zoom in with well, I don't know. It's like I feel sort of separated from the other characters, so it's not like I'm not as tempted to zoom in with Tio as I am to get to Winter and see how the main ritual Tio learned goes.
Okay, anyone vet is going to winter? Nobody wants to resolve anything on Autumn before we advance?
I mean, it would be nice to see Theo's ritual.
Yeah. Okay, so who fulfilled their goals to the land? I mean, the Union built. The Union of Stone made something out of peace. What was the goal of the Gray again?
To gain weapons and give them to the rebels.
Do you give weaponry to the Gray?
Yeah, I will give weaponry to the rebels.
To those fighting the rebels, I mean.
Yes. Yes. Still a little confused on that, but
Very
yes.
important.
Whatever the land wants. All right.
Okay, so you get 2 favors because you fulfilled the requirement and you gave the weapons. And Michael, you get 1 favor. So, Winter Court. So this is a weird court because people are not supposed to travel. So this is a court in which house has a specific place where the people that are talking with the land just stay there during the whole of winter. So let's take turns and say which of the sacred secluded places looks for each of you, and let's go to screen order. So let's start with the Unbridled Gray. So where is your seclusion happen?
Ooh, Dinara takes it on herself to do it, and she's not allowed to travel. She actually performs it at one of the old Empire beacons up in the mountain. As it's something that she can do while traveling, because it's not a specific place. It's like these decorations. So she's putting up these like prayer flags on the mountain, and she builds this yurt next to the old beacon and communes with the land there.
And where is the seclusion happens on the Union of Stone?
I think it happens by the Forge of Stone.
And for the architects, and has something changed with the war about that?
Normally, we would meet with like the scrolls of the moon, with the moon shining down on us. But with the interpreters being gone, I think we like there's this clear lake, and we're actually standing in like the rare sunlight that breaks through with the clouds from winter. So like we got like Tio's image transfers from the lake to wherever we're going.
Okay, so who has served the land better during autumn?
Yeah, I have to agree with Ferret. I think the Union did again. Darn them being so connected.
Yeah, so you're gonna get advantage. So, okay, each of your houses roll holding court. So roll plus favor, Union gets advantage.
So 13. I know. Why am I playing the nice guys? Oh, not really.
You got 11.
Got an 8.
So the architects are back into the fold. So let's start with the architects that have been left last time out. So the land shows you winter, shows you the storms, shows you the scrolls of the moon lost, and it shows you someone. It seems to be an imperial sorcerer. You can recognize by their clothes, and you can see it writing a new version of the scroll of the moon and managing to hide it among the skull. The land wants you to stop this sorcerer, this imperial sorcerer, before they manage to tamper with your writings and to hide a lie within it. Now, because you were there, you're actually going to see this on character. So, Dinar, you see the troops of Venuska fighting rebels, and you get visions of the battles that will be happening during winter as they try to get a foothold on the isolated forest communities that are still will still prefer serving the empire than, well, you who they see as a second empire. And you can see Venuska leading troops and taking them one by one during this winter. And you get a vision of one of these new forged hammers. And when you open your eyes, you see the most beautiful, perfect craft malls right in front of you. You see that the land has accepted the gifts that you and the Union worked together for, and is lending you the weapons back. And it's giving you one purpose: to destroy the serpent at the center of the woods. The Union, you are invested once again with soldiers, and the land seems pleased about you. And it shows you an oak tree, a massive ancient oak tree, and shows a thunderbolt striking it, and the wood falling from it. And it shows someone cutting that wood and making something out of it. It seems that they want you to secure an ancient lightning struck oak that the land has marked for your use and carve something from it. And now we gonna go for the moment everyone has waited for. So let's go for the architects. How are the architects doing this winter?
We are doing decently, I guess, but I think Tio has spent most of the and his followers have spent most of the rest of the autumn and some of the winter gathering not recruits, but people at least on their side to follow them. And I think I'm changing my role to leader. But they don't have time to claim the crown of Venuska, even though it is knowledgeable of where they are. And I think he is swears that he has the ability to complete the ritual at least enough that it can benefit the house, and he wants to go to the Lake of Blood to complete the ritual. And most of the house is probably okay with this because they realize that Tio will have to sacrifice himself to complete the ritual, which some people are, for because yay ritual. Some people are for because boo Tio.
So, what will the ritual accomplish if it is successful?
Oh well, the Tio knows that like Venuska is reborn from the lake, and I think from the last battle he has the skull of Kessa, and he wants to give the Horselords of the Steppe a true queen, one that would be able to crush the people trying to crush the rebellion and lead them, give her, imbue Kessa with life and the full force of the power of winter to be able to craft the laws of the land herself.
Okay, so let's zoom in. Who of the main characters are at the Blood Lake?
I am.
I don't think Dinara is there. Dinara can't travel.
I mean, no one can really. Winter. Would
Can
be
break the
cool.
rules.
I kind of like Natalia to be there, actually.
I think Tio reached out to Natalia. I'm bringing. This is about Kessa. Please come.
Yeah.
And I mean, this has been on the planning for 2 seasons, so I guess Natalia could have arranged to be there when winter starts.
Yeah.
Okay. Are the architects calling for Venuska?
Oh no, Venuska shouldn't be here for this.
So you can play someone from the church, the union, or the architects.
So did we ever say what happened to Father Rye?
Nope.
Because you struck the walls and you knocked it down. Access to the Blood Lake.
From his strain of the church too. So I mean,
yeah, I think Father Rye might be here. Maybe not obviously, and he's in opposition to this.
Oh, I like opposition. Okay, so why don't you give us the opening of how are the architects preparing for this massive ritual?
I think even though it is winter, Tio is nearly he's in light ritual clothes and being washed with water that is way too cold to purify him. He is having henna basically drawn on meridian points on his body to let the lake know where to strike when he flows into it. And I think even though he could use fire magic in winter to keep warm, because of what he did with the fire magic last time, he is letting himself feel the sting of the cold.
And how do we see the other characters? Let's start with Natalia because main character.
I think you see Natalia in like simple clothes. She has like this gray robe with like this maybe even like there's some kind of like leather or something like that, and just like with I imagine it being perhaps like yeah, maybe it's one of these war hammers in her belt, almost like looks like it's glowing. The runes on it glowing like red in the vicinity of the lake. Just like observing Theo.
And Father Rai?
I'm torn between that should be Father Rai or Vensa. No, I'm going to be Father Rai. Father Rai is across the Blood Lake from where all of this has been occurring. And him and all of his like Temple Guard soldiers are incredibly like emaciated. But they are absolutely hellbound on preventing this from happening. Performing magic in winter.
Boo!
How dare they?
Okay, so what is Theo doing?
Teo, as he has been cleansed, the skull of Kessa has been decorated with like the makeup of the Katoon. Like I think like the Queen of Queens on her skull, and he is he's like chanting what the land told him to chant as he walks towards the Blood Lake. His tutor is looking kind of wryly at this, no pun intended, as he gets toward, like, is this possible? We've not been to the Blood Lake in ages. How do we know this is going to work? Kind of face. But I think Teo sets the skull down at the base of the lake, turns to face everyone, holds out his hands in like that cross position of like welcoming everyone, and begins casting the ritual that will take his life and replace it with the true queen's.
So, how much Natalia knew about this region before this happened, and how is she reacting to it?
I think Theo doesn't seem like the person to like lie about what they were doing. So I think they probably knew like more or less what was going on, unless there was something specific Theo left out.
Nope, you know everything Teo knows.
And I think, as Theo is starting to cast the ritual, I think she like turns around, looking around the lake, unhinging her warhammer.
And how is Father Rai stopping the ritual as it starts?
I'm not really interested as a player in seeing the ritual stop at all, but I think, whenever this hits its climax, there's going to suddenly be like an explosion of arrows from the tree line.
Yeah, and I think probably how I assist, I'm just gonna do the ritual by like that's probably why I'm here, right? To hinder whatever interference there is.
Okay, so Theo, enact a ritual.
And I have a move that any ritual I learn from the land, I roll with plus bravery instead of plus lore. And because I'm a leader, my bravery is 3. That is a 14.
Well, first of all, what is Father Rai pointless effort, and how does Natalia stops him?
Well, I think fictionally at least, how she single-handedly stops this is that there's definitely like the magical power of the land is so present by the lake, and now she's wielding this artifact of the land in a way, and I think it's just completely overpowering his arrows. That's how I imagine it.
Yeah,
As
so
they cross the Blood Lake, they start to burn in the air and turn to ash.
Yeah, and warp and rot and just vanish into nothing. So, okay, so dive into the lake with the skull, Theo.
No, the skull stays on the shore as Tio dives into the lake, but because she will need to be reborn on the shore of the lake.
Yeah,
But
that's no longer
the
danger.
magic is far more powerful than normal. And I will select 2 Banes the GM cannot pick. The weather will not change suddenly and dramatically. And the land will not demand, well, it's demanding a large sacrifice from me with my life, so I'm not going to pick that. The land will not warp the body of Kessa when she comes back. You want me to like describe like the fluff of the ritual as he?
No, I'm just going over how many laws are you breaking? One only?
I'm breaking 1 by not controlling the crown of Venuska. So you get to pick 2 Banes.
Yeah.
Is he
So-
also break? It's not a ritual law with the winter thing, so never mind.
No, yeah, winter's in effect.
Yeah, it's part of the ritual. So, Esteo disappears into the lake. There's a last vision from the land. The land shows that Teo still has much to do. And the land offers one promise. The land can return Teo back at some point, or the land can make sure that Teo and his big sister will be together forever.
Oh, I had a perfect reaction of what happens to Teo. So yeah, Kessa and Teo will be together forever.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm thinking. And the last one is that all equines will bow and obey and stare in awe to be in front of the reborn Kessa.
Can I fluff the ritual a bit with the narrative?
Yes.
So I think
I've made my picks. You go ahead.
I think Teo falls under the blood lake. The lake churns and roils. It laps up under Kessa's skull. There's a brief moment where I'm not going to Hellraiser body horror this, but like her skull rises and then like it outlines itself in a human form, and then the lightning strikes again like it did her arm before, and she's standing like what she was when she was raising the warhammer against Teo, and she is dressed in much more majesty than the Katoon was before, due to like the luxury of the makeup and everything that Teo could afford for this ritual. And as she stands by the lake, her warhammer raised from the blood lake, Teo, now tied forever to Kessa, comes out as a steed as mighty as Audi was, or the Adu was. Adu was. And I think like to show like his deference, he bows before Kessa, so she doesn't even have to jump up to mount the mighty warhorse. But like it has a mane of red fire, red fire hair. If you've ever played Dynasty Warriors, he is the red hair from Lubu.
And I think this is the perfect stop for the campaign. Thanks, everyone. So let's go around with stars and wishes. Well, this is the last session, so let's just do roses and thorns instead. Big roses to everyone. I really loved how we played an entire year and the way that we finished this amazing year. And everyone had strong climaxes to their stories. And I more specific rose I want to give is that we got to do a pitched battle, because tracking out the other stuff, I was kind of neglecting that part, but that was really fun, and I'm glad we got to try. So those are my roses. So let's do on screen order. Greg next.
Rose to Ludo for running this. Thank you so much. When I saw this, caused me to like back, and this single book caused me to back like all of the legacy stuff. Back when it was on Kickstarter, and I was like, I want to play this game so bad. So thank you, Ludo, for running it and doing such a lovely job. Ferret, it's always such a joy to play with you. Your gift for reincorporation of themes and stuff is just, it's magical, and I love it. Michael, I'm not sure we have played together. It was such a joy to play with you as well. I loved our scene that started this with Natalia and Kessa, and that sort of that tense friendship. And it was so much fun because I love the play culture in the Gauntlet, because I can just straight up ask you, hey, what can I give you? And we don't have to dance around that socially. So all around awesome. Loved it. Thank you so much.
Michael?
I want to double down on that. Roses to you, Ludo, for running this. I was also very excited about the concept of this game, and I never played the Legacy before either. So it was. I'm very happy about how this turned out, even though I spent quite a bit of the few two sessions a bit confused by all the moving parts. The last two sessions really were really good, I think, and I loved how we actually managed to kind of get a coherent ending together, melding our narratives a little bit, because this is also seems also like a game where it's easy to play like 3 single player campaigns a little bit. Yeah, I guess probably you, Ferret, had a little bit more of that with not seeing our characters together so much, which was too bad, but we got to see like in the end still, which was cool. And I really loved the way you built up to that. So that was really awesome ending, I think. Yeah, that's my roses.
Yeah, again, to echo everyone, thank you, Ludo, for running this. Free from the Yoke is one of the last Kickstarter was like this. I don't really have interest in the Spore game one. I don't really have interest in the Godsend right now. But it's like Free from the Yoke, yeah, Slavic style feudalism gone right. Yeah, this is fine. And I saw this on there. I saw it was like 7 a.m. my time. It's like, you know what? Push it. I am going to play this game. I like everyone here. Because I think I've played with Michael in one single session of Worldwide Wrestling where he went all out and just destroyed the narrative, destroyed us in the best possible way that we had to rebuild from. And I've played with Greg before, and Greg was super fun. And another reason why I joined, like, Greg's joined. Click, RSVP right now. And it was nice playing. I'm a nice guy in real life, as odd as that may seem from the Teachers of Ancient Truths. So it's nice to play a villain. As like one of my favorite actresses once said, it's like, it's always okay to play the nice girl. It's always fun to play the bitch.
Yeah. Thorns. I mean, I love Legacy. I love the unique things the system does, and while clearly favor more topics more, I really like all the games at its core. They are all a mess in a good way. There's way too many things to track and to fulfill. So yeah, that is kind of always going to be a thorn. It's a bit of overwhelming. It's always overwhelming, no matter how many times you play it. So yeah, that's a turn. It's always overwhelming. And a big turn is that 4 sessions feel not enough. So yeah, this is while I'm glad that we managed to do a good self-contained story, I have the feeling that there's still a lot to tell on these lines, and that's also, in a way, it's good, but always leaves wanting for more. And Minotaur, I would say that I would like to have more zoom-ins with Theo, but because they got one of the most complete arcs, in the end, I'm not disappointed.
As far as thorns for me, I wish Alan had been able to attend more of the sessions. I would like a 4-hour session if we had another house. I think like an hour per house present is a really good central thing, and having more houses to bounce around a little bit. We did pull in the house, the church occasionally, but having that be a player character and having that interact, that would have been interesting. A little thorn that we never got to see what it looks like when an Arbiter project completes and or falls into complete turmoil. I think we would have seen that if we had more sessions. Minor thorn, I don't like how StreamYard does not mirror my image. I think this has been mentioned by people. It makes it really disconcerting because the mic is here, but the mic is here. And yeah, I wish we could play this physically at a table. I think it would be it might be more challenging to do some of the interaction as far as understanding what people's needs and surpluses were, but having something a little more physical for tracking of because I was like, I don't even know how my mood gets affected on my house, and having some more physical representation of that would help me. But all minor gripes. I loved it.
Yeah, I think my thorn is also a little bit in the same thing here with the system. Also the story, because of the system becoming a little bit all over the place. It's a bit hard to keep track of. Like for example with the rebellions and stuff, I still don't really get what's really going on there, which is a bit confusing in terms of making the fiction concrete enough for everyone to understand it in a similar way and just build on it, which I think is just a little bit a symptom of the game with how much is going on. So I was a little bit overwhelmed at times about what's really going on here, and how do I even interact with it. That being said, when we got into it now, last 2 sessions for me has been very good, and I think I've been understanding most of the things that are going on. And I also would like to maybe have played a little bit more. I think this is probably a 10-session game done in 4 sessions here. We're at season 1 possibly, but if I played the legacy kind of game again, I'd probably try to aim for 8 to 10 sessions or something like that. So, but I really enjoyed it still. I even though I'm happy I got to play it before I run it, say it like that. So it's been nice.
Yeah, I was a bit confused about the rebellion and the land kind of thing, but I think I grokked it as best I could. And I say, with the question mark at the end kind of thing. But it was fun playing Venuska. I wish more people had been able to grab her and do things with her. But otherwise, this was just really fun, and it felt complicated and more magical than Game of Thrones, but like the early seasons, not after season 5. So I was on the whole satisfied with just a few minor twitches, and I think the moves with Legacy are less in most of the Legacy games are less concrete than most PBTA games. Or maybe I've just played so much Apocalypse World, Monster Hearts, Masks that I've mastered those in a way that I've not mastered Legacy. So it feels like either you're doing no moves and almost all narrative, or you trigger that mousetrap game and moves just go off, and until you're sort of confused at the end.
Yeah, that's kind of my impression. You can go sessions with barely making a roll on Legacy, but then when things start activating each other, it's a cascade gameplay. So it's less, action, move, like other PBTA. It's more fiction, blink, and then everything goes to hell. Okay, thanks everyone. Is it and the broadcast? I forgot about it. So everyone.